Welcome to another video here at my YouTube channel. My name is Tom. I'm call sign Lima Bravo 6 Quebec Juliet. I wanted to make a video on how artificial intelligence can work for you. It's been a couple of attempts to get everything right. Two of the times the robot was wrong, and this third time I was wrong on the frequencies. But I do have a Baofeng radio. I actually got two of them that I want to prep for emergencies when or if the phone line is going down from various types of reasons. It's very good to have a couple of have a couple of radios for ham use, and as well as a couple of radios like walkie-talkies that the general population can use. But in an emergency, I guess all of the rules doesn't apply on which frequencies to use, basically. But I wanted to have a radio where I can just give to my neighbor, and he can stay in communication with me. So I wanted to, instead of me typing all of the frequencies in chirp, which is the program that I will program the uh, Baofeng radios in. I want the intelligence, more specifically Chat GPT, to make that list for me. Um, I hope that I can make this to work. Hopefully, I'm getting the frequencies correct in my head here. So I want the Chat GPT to make me a list from the beginning frequencies to the end frequency on 2 meter band with 12.5 kilohertz separation. So the United States are using more frequencies than Norway has. We only using from 144 to 146, but the United States can use up to 148, I believe, on the 2 meter. So yeah, so I have to adapt the questions for Norwegian use. So um, I have to ask the questions in different stages because or else it will get it wrong. Uh, the ChatGPT has taken the world by storm, and artificial intelligence is going to be part of our future if we like it or not. So we basically just has to adapt to it, and of course the technology has to adapt to what is considered to be safe technology. So the manufacturers of the artificial intelligence has a huge responsibility. We don't want any Terminator in the real life. It's only enough with on the movie. So back to the Chat GPT. I'm gonna ask the questions and then basically we take it from there. So make me a list where uh, it starts on 144 megahertz to the last frequency. Not quite good in English all the time. Um, so I have to translate a word which is called frequency. Uh, I know how to pronounce it, doesn't know how always to write it. That is 146 megahertz with 12.5 kilohertz separation. I do have reading and writing difficulties, so writing is a little bit more difficult. And of course, English is not my primary language. It's a secondary, but I'm doing it right. So make me a list where it starts on 144 megahertz to the loss frequency that is 146 megahertz with 12.5 kilohertz separation. It should be a simple enough question for it. So I'm gonna copy it and paste it in Chat GPT. Uh, and it does that for me. It understands the um, that it wants it wants to do a 12,500 hertz at a time. So instead of having the neighbor to type in all of the frequency, I can just use the VFO on the radio to tune it in for me. So that is cool. I can see some problems already, which it doesn't quite. Uh, it's basically been too much for the robot to list. So I am going to re-ask the question uh, where I wanted to only have it from 144 to 145. Then I take the next step from 145 to 146. So it has less to work on. There's a lot of people that is using ChatGPT right now, so it may be struggling. Um, but here it is actually working. Uh, it should go around 80 inquiries, actually 80 answers in there, which is actually working really hard. Okay, so 81. That is pretty good. What I also do to there are some other stuff that I do because I'm copying all of the frequency down. So if I paste this into a spreadsheet document directly, it will keep the numbers like 49, 50, 51 and stuff like that. I wanted to remove it. So that's why I am using um, Notepad, which is a genius tool to use. It's old tool from 1986, I believe, from Microsoft. It still works pretty good for me. Yeah. So it will remove 78, 71, and so on and so on. But I also want the software to, have the chat GPT to remove the megahertz um, because I don't want that to be part of the import file to chip. So it will remake the list for me, which is great. Uh, the next question I'm gonna ask it is a little bit more tricky, but it should do it. So I'm only going to specify that I want a new list from 145 to 146, but it has to remember the previous parameters, which is 12 and a half degrees separation. No, it's 12 and a half kilohertz separation, but remove the megahertz from the answer. Um, Now from 145 to 146. I am very directly to the robot, but I will say thank you from at the end of the question. So it is actually doing it quite good. It remembers the previous parameters, and I can just type it just really, really simple. Next job that I will try to do on my own is to import that into um, chip off the video here. So that is actually quite easy. I have now 100 and 40, 44, 144 frequencies uh, automatically produced for me instead of me just typing it in spreadsheet and all that kind of stuff manual. This has actually saved me, oh, I would say well over an hour of work. Um, ChatGPT is not perfect. It is flawed in some odd ways, but if you kind of know how to answer the question, it can be a very, very useful tool for you. I demonstrated now how artificial intelligence can work for me in the radio amateur hobby without much effort. Is artificial intelligence going to be better in the future? Yes, it will. Uh, right now, it is on a developing state. People doesn't know how to react to it, nor do they know how to work with it. And unfortunately, a lot of students are actually using artificial intelligence to cheat at school, which they're not supposed to do. But if we can adapt to it so it will work better within our days, it will be better. And we have to embrace it a little bit instead of just rejecting it. But a lot of the responsibility is on the manufacturer of that AI on how it wants to work. We do not want Terminator in our world. We don't need a robot to make the decision for us. We want to make that, so we are in control. But yeah, the technology does work. I just demonstrated. So I hope you liked the video, and if you do, just comment on it, subscribe to it, please. It will help me in the long run. And with that, Lima Bravo 6 Quebec Juliet is signing off. Hope you liked it, and this frequency is available. Bye bye.